Capricorn, this is your October 2024 soul story. If you have a sun, rising or moon in the sign, this is your reading, and this is Romy. Thanks so much for taking the time to join me. We are going to open up this month for you with the energy of the Hierophant. I don't think that we ever feel truly ready for some of the changes and transitions that happen upon us in our life, and yet you have accumulated the wisdom and you do have the learning and the sacred experience, and there's something about October where you're going to feel compelled to put that into action and to go with the flow and move with how the energy is directing you. You have to stop limiting yourself before you even begin. And sometimes we can get caught up in feeling comfortable with what is familiar because there's some sense of structure and order, and maybe that's what we're craving because so much has been in a state of flux. But it's through that flux that we really achieve the growth, and is often where all of the opportunities lie. Now we're going to open up October on the 2nd with a new moon eclipse in Libra. It's lighting up the 10th house for you, and so there's something about the spotlight shining on you and an opportunity to really demonstrate and to put yourself out there a little bit in terms of what you have to offer, you know, what you have to bring to the table right now that is needed, that makes a difference. Now it's interesting, we have an activation from asteroid goddess Black Moon Lilith with this eclipse. She's also in Libra right now, and so we become very aware of the, let's say, more primal emotional reactions that we can have to situations. And remember, eclipses often come around to trigger us, and they can often reveal things that, you know, can feel a little bit surprising and cause somewhat of a discord in our energy field. You know, we're asking ourselves the questions: where am I right now? What am I doing? Where am I going? And, you know, what is the universe doing, you know, in my pathways right now as well? Because what you might be finding is that there's divine detours that are coming up, you know, interrupting the best laid plans that you've got in place, and how you're responding is going to be really acutely felt in and around that new moon eclipse, especially in the context of some of the close intimate relationships that are being impacted by some of the changes that are happening. So, you know, how you're responding and how that's shaping the communication and the connection with others, right, is front and center stage that first part of the month. You know, there's sometimes, I think, a need for us to question, you know, how fulfilling, how nourishing, how expansive is this energy for me right now? Or is it just familiar and therefore on some level like keeping me safe? The star tells me here that you're reaching for something more, and that there is enough of a recovery, there's enough of a sense of being able to heal something that you can lean into a little bit more optimism and hope about what is possible. And I see you grabbing that with both hands, because I think it's time. I think you're really super ready in some area of your life to just go, okay, this is what I want. This is really actually, you know, the thing that is most important to me at this moment in my life. And even the ability to be able to kind of communicate that and to share that and to speak those words out loud might feel like quite a landmark for you, because it could be things that you've kept really close to your chest, or you've felt like, you know, it's just not going to be possible, or, you know, you've had so many disappointments, or there's been so many detours that it's just been difficult to come to terms with even the belief or having the trust that this can happen. But as I said, this is a month where, you know, the energy is compelling, and it's driving us towards facing things, expressing things, taking certain steps towards things. What we do have in our favor is a whole series of trines with Venus coming through in the first part of the month, which create ideal conditions to have more harmonious conversations. You know, on the 4th, Venus and Saturn get together in a positive conversation. Then Venus hooks up with Mars on the 8th and Neptune on the 15th. So, you know, what we want to do, how we're going to do it, where we find the drive and the motivation, and how we're reaching for the stars, if you like, you know, really reaching out for the dreams that we hold, the aspirations and the ideal scenarios that, you know, maybe we've been afraid to articulate. All of that kind of coming up in the early part of the month to be discussed in a way that, you know, you just are able to lay it on the line, right? Jupiter's going to go retrograde in Gemini on the 9th. And so some of the opportunities and the ways that you've been expanding, and perhaps it's felt, you know, at warp speed. Now you have a moment to catch your breath and to kind of really assess and process some of the moves that you've made and things that have unfolded. I suppose an opportunity to consider, you know, is this changing me for the better? Is this exactly what I want? Is this moving me towards the things that are important to me? So I think it can be a really valuable cycle coming through, you know, over the next few months to kind of work on. That expansion is going to be happening within you. So we must change our inner world before we start to see things happening in our outer world. And of course, on the 11th, Pluto now stationing direct in your sign the last few weeks. We talked about this last month. You know, you are preparing on an epic level to draw a line. You know, to draw a line, to close a chapter, and to actually give yourself the closure that you need with regards to something. You have lived and learned. And, you know, you've come out of that with some really powerful celestial guidance in terms of what next. And I think that's what you're really wanting to put into place. There's something about October where it feels like it's a show reel, you know, it's kind of like a highlight reel of different aspects of your life. I think notably in 10th house, perhaps for some of you around your work and career, where you get to look back and you actually get to be super proud and acknowledge how far you've come and just what you've achieved, even if it wasn't necessarily in alignment with your expectations that you held at the time. But it's really important. That show reel, if you like, is something that you're holding close to kind of help motivate you, but to also consider the amount of investment that you've given into different things in your life. Maybe it's a relationship, maybe into, you know, your spiritual path or the work that you do. And, you know, coming from that perspective, now give yourself the permission to take that huge leap forward that you will be feeling. As Pluto then moves fully out of your sign. The Seven of Coins talks about that time of just consideration, mindfully, you know, and you've got the support. He's leaning up against the tree. It feels like you've got the strength and the support system when you need it most to take the time that you need to come to a very important decision or conclusion with regards to something. You might have some really interesting offers on the table or things that are opening up for you, particularly again from a career perspective, new interviews, discussions around potential different positions, maybe even shifts in completely new industries. One of the things that you'll be seeing is just how rapidly and also how monumentally, like, your life is perhaps like gearing up or has already like switched a gear, and perhaps you're looking in the direction that you never anticipated you would, or considering things that you never thought you would be at this moment in time. Nonetheless, here you are, and you can already lean in and feel that energy of 2025 like coming at you, because what it's really going to start doing is picking you up and moving you so far away from perhaps where you thought you would be, but in powerful leaps. So it's time to go with that energy, and you're going to start to get the inkling and see the signposts, and really, I think, feel the urges and kind of have the nudges that are coming up behind you happening in regards to that, right? Mercury shifts into Scorpio on the 13th, so, you know, there's some charisma there. And again, the things that you're saying, what you have to say and how you say it can be very compelling when we're working with that Scorpio energy. It draws people in. There's a magnetism to it. You're able to bring a lot of emotion, but in a way that's quite controlled, so that, you know, it still moves people, but it does it in a way where you want to lead them to something very specific. And, you know, however that needs to play out for you, whether it be through some sort of negotiation, an important heartfelt conversation. Your King of Cups here tells me that, you know, you're doing that really effectively, and actually it's a teaching moment, not just for yourself, but for other people, because what you're able to do is really hold space to get your point across, but also allow them to recognize within themselves something that they need to see and therefore need to share or express or to do as a result of that encounter. I think that, you know, you're still hiding behind something, and to a certain degree, I think that's your power, your gift. You know, there's something here that's not being fully utilized. He's kind of sat back in the cave, quite comfortable, you know, aware of his mastery. So this isn't a case of like you don't know what you got or what you're capable of doing or achieving. But I feel like you're also going to be having the nudge to kind of move further out into, you know, the light, and to be seen and to be recognized actually for what you're bringing and who you are and what you have to say. That feels quite important. Now, one of the things I will say through October, as I say every year, the veil at its thinnest, which means that we can have some really powerful conversations and commune with our higher self, with our team of guides, our soul family, and the celestial realm. But it does mean you're much more open to absorbing and picking up energies that are not necessarily wanted. So your energetic hygiene, your protection, your grounding, your disconnecting is really important all the way through this month, so you don't end up with attachment. So that waterfall of white light, just a reminder here to put that practice into place on a daily basis, right? So that you ensure, and this is the thing, the more you do it, the more consistent, the more you build it up, you're going to get much clearer on what is yours and what isn't. And that matters, right? Moving forward, you're going to be wanting to have that discernment on an energy sensitivity level, so that you can absolutely call out, you know what, this is projection from the media, or this is as a result of the conversation I had with that person that, you know, was really not in a good place on an energy or emotional level. And, you know, as you can start to do that more clearly, yeah, with greater awareness and then belief, then it's going to ensure that you're not then getting like derailed or distracted from things that matter and are important. Because this last few weeks of the month, there's something that you want to get in place, right? There's a need to sort of have the foundations, at least the plan, the strategy, or something like kind of initiated, you know, even if it's not all fully come together. And October is going to be a very powerful time to do that. Now, as we approach the full moon in Aries, we also are going to see Venus moving in Sagittarius the same day. So that full moon Aries coming in at 24 degrees. We've got Seven of Swords here. There's something around that time, and it may feel like, I don't know, you're having to maybe keep something quiet and you don't want to, or you're feeling like someone is withholding something from you. So there's a withholding of information going on around that time. Very difficult though to really keep anything behind the scenes, especially when we're working with such a potent, powerful full moon. Don't be surprised if something comes to light anyway. You know, even if you're trying your hardest for it not to leak or not to be shared, you know, and it might not come from you, it might be from someone else or somewhere else. I do think though it's something that can be capitalized on in terms of making a plan and sort of almost identifying an opportunity and knowing exactly what to do with it. The light's coming in and it's almost like you're able to take something and run with it, okay? And I feel like that can serve you really well. So you just want to be alert and awake and open as to what the type of things that are going on, because there's going to be a window that sort of will serve you really well. So you can kind of get in there and position yourself, or it's the right time to do something, I feel. Take advantage of that. With all of that fire energy, it can bring up a lot of different emotions, and there might be something going on around trust here, okay, with that Seven of Swords. So we might be challenged in the theme of trust. And, you know, for many, it's going to be around self-trust. Do you still hold the belief that you once did that something can happen? Do you still think you've got it in you to manifest or to make a change or to allow something to happen? You know, there's going to be a big realization moment around that. You know, to what degree am I on board with the very thing that I'm asking, or am I in the process of self-sabotaging myself? Like I said at the beginning, limiting yourself before you've even begun. That's going to be a theme that you're going to want to play out. It's important that you don't let other people's opinions be your problem. And there may be a sense of other people having a lot to say, even in a kind of gossipy way, or you feeling like people are saying things you're not necessarily sure exactly what they are, but you've got the vibe, or you're being kind of given some sort of bits and pieces of information. You got to move above and beyond that. You got to kind of clear that energy out. It's just really low vibrational, and again, it's just sent to almost distract you, and that's not what it's about. Remember your show reel. Remember who you are, what you've achieved, what you have to offer. This is a big month to kind of really sit in the energy of that, because that's what's going to open up new and expansive conversations for you and put you in the path of people that are going to help take you forward, not pull you back. Okay, so full moon being quite a potent time to also release yourself from something. You'll allow that chapter, that ending to close. You'll be very ready for it. May even be a sense of like, not burning a bridge, but kind of being so clear that you know you don't want to go back, that you don't mind if there's like no bridge left. You know, it just kind of feels like sometimes it really is time to completely move on from something. Now, into Scorpio season, and we're lighting up that 11th house. Remember, there's going to be a big emphasis around your community, your friendships, the places that you spend time, and whose energy you are being influenced by, you know, that you're resonating and vibing with, or actually that's just becoming more of a drain. So some mindful consideration, I think, going on around that time. You know, as I said, October is delivering this compelling energy that's asking you to resolve anything that is not in balance. Okay, sometimes that can happen quite abruptly, quite rudely in the way that it seems to be delivered, especially through eclipse season. But at the same time, I think there's a part of you that's like, oh, well, at least that happened and took it out of my hands. So there's something that maybe you've been thinking about or knew that needed to happen, and the universe almost steps in and sort of takes care of it for you, even if it comes in a little bit more sharply than necessarily would have been wanted. But ultimately, I think it ends up working out well for you by the time you get to the end of the month. Okay, so the other thing that you're going to be wanting to focus on as you come towards the end of October is kind of like, how do I make this work in a way that's going to be acceptable to people around me? So perhaps there's something that, you know, it's deeply personal for you. It's about your ambition and, you know, a desire that you have, or how you want to lead your life moving forward. And of course, you know, we have to take into consideration the family that we have, the friendships, the people at work, or, you know, that are going to be ultimately affected by the choices and decisions that we make. Yes, we can be healthily selfish, but we live in that real world where, you know, also we have to kind of find that way to compromise and to have a balanced, you know, experience that's going to maintain a sense of peace for us, you know, because it's all well and good to go for something that we want, but if everyone, you know, is affected in a way that's disruptive, you know, we're going to get all of that coming back on us energetically. So toward the end of the month, I see you asking that question, you know, how do I figure this out? How can I make this work? Know that there is going to be a solution. It's not necessarily going to come from the people that are going to be directly affected. So even though you would want to sit down and have meaningful conversations with them about it, I feel like it's going to be from somewhere else that you actually get that more wise counsel. Okay, so look out for that. See how it might have been done before, or where somebody's experience really holds a lot of credence with you and can be something that you could apply, or you'll be able to take something really significant from that. Okay, that's going to make a massive difference to you, because I feel like you're a bit stuck with regards to this coming in toward the end of the month. Of course, we're going to also experience Samhain, Halloween, 31st. So remember, you know, any rituals that you're doing, any time that you're spending to try and connect, just make sure you're super grounded and protected around this period as well, okay? If you are new to the channel, Capricorn, my last 3 cards we look at in the extended reading, you're going to find the link in the comment section below. We talk for another 30 minutes or so. We'll look at a personal and a relationship question for you. I'm just going to go ahead and clarify the cards and see the direction we're going to take it. We have got double Hierophant here. We're also looking at commitment for you this month. Where is this theme coming through? It's going to be a big one. You're going to be deliberating considerably. A bit of confusion around that as well. Now listen, if you're new to my channel, you may not have been aware that I have just brought out a journal to add to my trilogy of my Life Soul Vision Oracle and my book Moon Musings. It's on pre-order right now. It's going to be arriving in November. You can check it out over on my website, romywiser.com. It's a beautiful, creative, sacred tool to support you on your journey, and I'm just going to make a beautiful gift for yourself and for people that you know are also on their soul journey right now with deep awareness and mindfulness. So please take a moment and go and explore it. Okay, what do we have here with the King of Cups, 2 of Pentacles coming through here, King of Swords, King and Queen of Swords, I think, can be helpful by way of delivering the focus that you need this month, but also present some obstacles that we know we're going to have to navigate around. And I think you know the people that are going to be the tricky ones here. Okay. All the decks that I use are always listed below, okay? And over on my website, you're also going to find like my other sacred titles, Life So Vision Oracle, that we're just about to put down. Also ways to work with me, all my sacred soul support meditations, my membership. So please take a moment and see what resonates with you. Right, we have Vortex of Boundless Grace. We've got Third Eye Energy. We've got Root Energy coming, Built from Love. Earth Star. Portals of Possibility. Full Moon, Soulful Surrender. Some beautiful energies coming through here for you. Let's have a look at a couple of the oracles now. We'll explore these in your extended reading, Capricorn. What do we have? We've got the energy of play. And we've got the Time Traveler's Oracle. With the veil being so thin this October, as it always is this time of year, we can move through dimensional energies so powerfully at this time. So felt like a good deck to bring in. Okay, you've got magic and you have Glastonbury in Britain. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you'll join me for the extended. Please go check my journal out and I will see you again next month, Capricorn. Bye.